Good morning. Oh man, this feels good. Can you see that? Oh, the sun is blinding. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful spring morning. I am out here today to put some kale in before I head out. Um, you can see I have a few row covers up. There's a bunch going on already right over here. Between the row covers, cardboard chips, slab wood gardening. We'll get into all that later, but today we're getting into brooding chickens. And if you are getting into it, there are some things, not many, that you need to think about. And I have all this documented over at newhampshireman.com, and I'll include a link right to the article here. But pretty much you need an enclosure, some bedding, food, water, and heat. And I'll show you how to provide all those, and I'll also show you the way I do it now. And I'll ask that you learn as much the easy way as possible. Like, I think if you're just getting into brooding chickens, you're gonna want to do it inside, and it's fun. Like, they're super cute and they chirp and it's beautiful, but they make such a mess, man. Like, just learn from me and bring them outside. If you have a garage or a barn or something, maybe even the basement if that's the best you got. But also check it out. I'm gonna throw in some video here about the wheelbarooter. This is I took a wheelbarrow, turned it into a flatbed, and then brooded my chickens in a dog crate. And that way I could keep them in the barn for security, but on nice days like today, I could wheel them outside and they could get that fresh air and that sunlight. So check that out, and I invite you to run with that idea in whatever way works for you, but make sure you let me know when you do and share it with me. I'm interested to see where you take your journey. So make sure you stay tuned, subscribe to this channel so you get to know about future articles. Cruise over to New Hampshire Man to check out that place. There's a lot of good stuff going on there about personal freedom and lifestyle design. So hopefully you're on board with that. Check that out. Subscribe, hit the bell. I love you guys. Check you out next time. Here, 2017, and I want to introduce this year's chicken brooder. The first year we brooded chickens, we did it inside, and that was fun. Like, it was nice having the chicks inside. They have a nice sound, and we handle them more than we do now. The downside was that it was disgusting. It smelled, the dust from the shavings and the chickens was all over the place. It was the good didn't outweigh the bad, and we brought them outside the next year. So then the next year I put them in a stall in the barn, and that worked fine. It was warm, it was safe, and that's some critical things, but it was always dark, and I felt like we needed to do the chickens a little bit of a favor by getting them outside. And so this year I took apart a wheelbarrow that I had that was kind of busted up, one of those big tub type wheelbarrows. Took the tub off and built a deck, a little flatbed on it. And then I put a dog crate on the flatbed. So I can use a flatbed for anything from now on, but I did build it so that I could put the dog crate on here. And now I have the benefit I can roll them into the barn for the security, and on a beautiful day I can take them outside and they can get some fresh air. This is the brooder. This is where they come in as little chicks. Here's some things that I do, and you may want to keep in mind. First is I round off all the corners, and that is so no one gets stuck in there, because they'll all congregate together, and they can crush one another when they're small. At this size, it's not as big of a deal. The litter, I use, these are shavings from the planer I have in the wood shop. They're not ideal. They sell wood chips at like Tractor Supply and stuff. You get the bigger shavings, those are better than this, but just because there's a dust level of this that could be a problem with chicks. But it's something that I have a lot of, so I tried it out and it seemed to work fine. Food in the little feeder tray, you see the one that I have set up here. And then I use crumble feed and put some chick grit, sprinkle it on top when I add it once or twice a day at least. A waterer, and if you get chicks mail order, when they come in, you got to dip their head in the water, or their beak rather, so that they figure out that's what that is. And that's for me, this is the first year that I got these chicks locally, so that had already been done. And then around the backside, you'll see I put some styrofoam on. The intent there was to be a wind block and a little bit of a heat shield. And I learned that the chickens love to peck styrofoam. So I slid some cardboard in where I had it. And next year what I'll do is line the thing with cardboard first and then put the styrofoam on. And I just have that zip tied onto the cages. Lastly, over here, we lost two, and I think 2 chicks early in the season, and I think they climbed through and then were not smart or were not able to climb back in. So I lined a little bit with chicken wire, and I think in the future I would these gaps here are just a little bit too much when they're real baby chicks. And lastly, the heat lamp. Probably should have a thermometer in there too. The chicks will tell you when it's too hot because they all move away from it. And if you have the heat lamp too high up, then they're all huddled under it and they're still not getting warm. Then you know to bring the heat lamp down a little bit. And they make some, if you're getting new equipment, they make some cooler heat lamps now than this one. That's all there is to it, right, Bogart? And then there's teaching Bogart that the chicks are to be protected, not eaten. I don't think we're there yet. Well, that is it for the introduction to this year's 2017 wheel brooder. We'll make a few changes in the coming years, but this method seemed to be pretty good. The mess was containable, chicks are doing fine, they're safe, and they're almost ready to go out to the coop. We'll see how that goes. Thanks.